Here we go. How you doing, everyone? Mikey here, and today I'm here to give you a little bit of piano lesson. Alright, first thing we want to know is where metal C is. So that will be in the middle of an 88 key keyboard, which is standard, but keyboards come in, different octaves. But this is a full one, so C will be right in the middle, and you can always mark C out because it's right before the two black keys. So you'll notice that on the keyboard we have two black keys and we have three black keys. So C is always to the left of that. So in other words, even if you go down all the way, you have C, 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 C. Alright, so anywhere you go that'll be a C, it will just be in a different range. Okay, so that being said, we want to locate C. Alright, from here I want to teach you guys an exercise that will help you, get your hands playing on the keyboard. So first thing we want to do is play a C major scale. Now we're going to start with our right hand, but everything we do in the right we'll show you to do in the left. So in the right hand we want to start on the C with our thumb, and then we want to go to the D with our index finger. Then we want to go to the E with our middle. Now, instead of using our ring finger to hit the F, we want to take our thumb underneath our hand and grab the F here with our thumb. And then we're going to go to the next key over. Now, remember, I didn't mention this before, but C is all the white keys. So, no black keys yet. We'll get to that. So, we're on an F. And the next white key that's between the two black keys of 3 is a G. We want to use our index here. And then we want to use our middle finger for the A. We want to use our ring finger for the B. And then up the octave is the C. We want to use a pinky. Now we call that an octave because there are 8 notes within the scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now, coming back down, it's exactly in reverse. So you have a pinky on C, ring on B, middle on A, index on G, thumb on the F. Now you're going to reach over with your hand and use your middle finger to get the E. You're going to use the index to get the D. And then finally you're back to your thumb on the C. Okay? So that all together sounds like this. And that's your C major scale. Okay, so what you want to do is get you a counter or a clicker or what we call a metronome. Sorry. And we're going to play from C to C, but I'm going to count today. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now that's the C major scale in the right hand. Now we're going to do what we call arpeggios. Okay, that's a C major chord. So we're going to take the first note, C, skip D and hit the E note, skip the F note and hit the G note. Okay, and it looks like that. So that is a chord. That's a C major chord. All right, now in chords we have what we call different inversions. Okay, now we spelled this chord C-E-G. Well, the next spelling, we're going to move our hand, we're going to put our thumb on the E this time, put our index on the G, and put our pinky on the upper C. Okay, that's what we call the first inversion. So the first chord we hit was what we call root. This one, where the E is in the furthest left, is the first inversion. And going to the next inversion, on our thumb we're going to play the G. The upper C we're going to play with the middle finger. And then with the pinky we're going to play the upper E. Sorry, I hit an F along with that. And that is the second inversion C, spelled G-C-E. And then finally we're back to root by using the upper C, going to the upper E, and then the upper G. Okay, so your exercise sounds like this. The first inversion, the root, go into the first inversion, go into the second inversion, and then finally back to root up top. And then we're going to come back down to the second, then to the first, and then to the root. Okay? So next, we're going to take those same exact positions and we're going to break them up. So we're going to play C, E, G. Then we're going to go E, G, C. Then we're going to go G, C, E. And then end with the higher C, E, G. But guess what? We're going to come back down too. So G, E, C to the E, E, C, G to the C, C, G, E, and then ending on that root again, going G, E, C. Okay? So that creates another exercise for our hand. The last thing we're going to teach you are the 1 chord, the 5 chord, a 4 chord, and the 6 chord. Okay, and let me explain what that is. So we just explained what a chord was. 3 notes put together. Well, every note in your scale coincides with a chord. So the second note would be a D. Its chord would be a minor, and we call that a 2 minor. Well, guess what? Going up to the E, which is the third note in the scale, is an E minor. Going up next to the F major chord, it's a major chord, it's the 4 chord, because it's the 4th note. G is the 5th note, and it is also major. A is the 6th chord, and it is minor. Now, B is what we call diminished, and it sounds really funky. It's the 7th chord. And it's got a really piercing sound, but it's meant to lead you back to the 1 chord up the octave. Hallelujah. Woo. Anyway, I say all that to tell you this. As we have different chords, they also have their own different inversions. And studying the chords in this way, you learn to use the different inversions so you're not moving your hand all over the place. Just like if I was trying to go to the C chord to the G chord, I'd have to move my hand a lot. And I'd be moving my hand a lot just to do that progression we talked about. But in this way, we're going to teach you how to do this progression without moving your hand as much. So first we start with the 1 chord, or the C chord, on C, E, G, in the root position. Next, we're going to have a G major chord, but we're going to spell it different. All right? So first, you're going to take your thumb and reach down for the B that's below you. You're going to reach next, you're going to use your index, and you're going to put it on the D, which is the key between the 2 black keys. But you're going to keep your pinky the same, which is on that G already. So you get this chord. So that movement again, you have a C chord. Now you're going to stretch out your thumb to the B, put your index on the D, and keep your pinky on that G to get the G major chord. Okay? Now to get the A minor chord, only thing that's going to happen is you're going to move your thumb back to the C, you're going to move your index to the E, and you're going to move your pinky to the A. Okay? Now, if you notice, that's the same form as your G. So you can think of it just as moving that same formation up to the next notes up. Okay? And that's an A minor chord. Now, for an F major chord, you're simply going to exchange the index finger from the E and drop the middle finger to the F to get an F major chord. Okay, that again, to an F major, you're simply changing 1 note, and that's that F in the middle, and then getting back to the C, you're going to take your middle and your index from the F and A, and you're going to take the middle back to the E, the pinky back to the G, and you're back where you started. Okay, so here's what that sounds like. 1, 2, that's a C major, going to a G, 1, 2, 3, going to an A minor, shifting that hand, 2, 3, now we're just dropping that middle for the F, 2, 3, and then we're going back to C. Okay? Cool. Now, guess what? We can do the next inversion, E, G, C. Now this one's interesting, so we go E, G, C in our right hand on the first inversion of C. The next thing we have to do to get to the G, we're going to drop our thumb to the D. We're going to move our index away and use our middle finger for the G, and we'll use our pinky for the B. So here's what this sounds like. We got E, G, C going to D, G, B. Okay. Now, G major and A minor are cool because they're right next to each other. So again, we're just going to shift that form up one note, and we have E, A, C in our right hand now. So that again, from the D, G, B, we're going to have E, A, C, and it's just shifting your hand from one place to the next. Okay. And then to get the F major from the A minor, we're going to move our thumb up to the F, and that's all you have to do. And then again, to get back from F major to C, we have to take our thumb to the E, our index back to the G, and then our pinky stays on that C. So here's what the second inversion, 1, 5, 6, 4 chords sound like. We have a C major, to the G major, A minor, to the F major, and then back to the C. Okay? But guess what? You probably already guessed it. There is a second inversion form. So our second inversion from C is G, C, E. Okay? And we go from G, C, E. Now we're going to play the root position of G major, which you stick that thumb stays where it's at, and the middle finger moves down to a B, and the pinky moves down to a D. There you go. So you go from here, C major, to the G, just moving those two fingers. Now the A minor, you just pick up your hand and literally go to the next note. There we go. That's A, C, E. So from the G, B, D to the A, C, E. So, now to get the F, you're going to have to switch out your middle finger to the index finger for that A and the C. So the A and the C stay the same, but we have to use the index finger so we can stretch out and get the F up top very comfortably. So that's F. So here's A minor, switching to F, and then you guessed it, back to the C, moving our thumb down to the G again, switching our C out with our middle finger. So it was index here, now we switch it with the middle, and then pinky on the E, and we're back home. So that sounds like this: C major, going to the G, moving the middle and the pinky. Now moving the whole hand, going to the A minor, switching the index out for the middle and the C, and reaching out for the F with the pinky, and then coming back to that C right there. Okay? Now, the top root position is exactly like the one we learned down at the bottom. So, all three of those skills create an exercise for both hands. So, I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to do the C major scale. So, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and come back down. First, I'm going to do the arpeggios blocked, is what we call it, so that means all together. Sorry about that. Then I'm going to do them broken. And then I'm going to do my 1, 5, 6, 4. To the next inversion. To the next inversion. And that becomes an exercise that you can repeat over and over. But, and I do mean but, what you do in the right hand, you must also do in the left. So in the left hand, we're going to do the scale. We're going to actually come from middle C and go down to the next C. And we're in our left hand, we're going to start with our pinky on the C, and then go to our ring, then to our middle finger on the E, then to our index on the F, then to our thumb on the G. Now the hand, you're going to reach over using your middle finger to grab the A, index finger to grab the B, and then you're going to grab the high C with the thumb. And then repeat going down, you're going to thumb, index on the B, middle finger on the A, reaching under with the thumb to grab the G, and then index on the F, middle on the E, ring on the D, and then pinky on the C. So it sounds like this. You're like, yay! Oh, but that's not it. We have chords too. So what you can do in the right hand on the piano, you also can do in the left. So we're starting with the C root chord. Now switching to the next inversion, we're on C, E, G. Now it's the same exact notes in our right hand, E, G, C, except on the left hand we have pinky on the E, middle on the G, and thumb on the upper C. So our first inversion is like that. And then on our second inversion we have a pinky on the G, an index on the C, and a thumb on the E. And then we're back up to root. And then we come back down. So that was blocked. Oh yes, you guessed it. We can do it broken too. You're like, yay, we can do that. Oh, you guessed it. Yes, we can also do our inversions here. Our progression. So the one chord, root chord, and now reaching down with the B with our pinky, and reaching down with our middle for the D. So pinky goes to the B, middle goes to the D. That's our G major chord. Lifting that hand up and going to the C, E, A for our A minor chord, yes. And then dropping the index on the F to make the F major chord. And then dropping the middle on the E, and then moving the thumb to the G. So it sounds like this. We have a C major chord, pinky and the middle finger move to the B and the D. The whole hand moves. That means the A's on the thumb's on the A, the middle's on the E, and the pinky's on the C. Dropping the index, lifting the middle to the E and the F right here. Boom. And then you're back to a C. And yes, you guessed it. Oh, we gotta go up to the next inversion. So we got E, G, C with the pinky, middle, and thumb. Then we're gonna drop the pinky to the D, index on the G, and thumb on the B. And then we're gonna move our whole hand, and our pinky's gonna be on the E, index on the A, thumb on the C. And then we're simply moving that pinky up. Oh, we're moving the pinky up and dropping the middle on the F and A and C. And then we're going back to the inversion of C, which we're going to move our middle and our pinky down to the E and the G. So that sounds again. We have E, G, C. We have D, G, B, index on the G. Then we're going to lift our hand and go E, A, C. And then we're going to move our pinky up to the F, drop our middle finger to the A for the F, A, C, and then we're back to the E, G, C. Oh yes, you guessed it. We're going to the next inversion with the G, C, E. So that's pinky, index, middle, dropping our middle finger to the B and moving our thumb to the D, which is G, B, D. Lifting our whole hand, going to the A, C, E with the pinky, middle, and thumb. And then stretching out that thumb for the F and having A, C, F. And then pinky in the G, index in the C, and then thumb in the E. Comes back to the second inversion C chord. So it sounds like this: G, C, E, G, B, D. Moving up to A, C, E, moving that thumb up to the F, and then back to the C. So that is your first exercise. Start one hand at a time, and then soon, slowly but surely, you'll start to put these things together. Now, don't start that way. Remember, we have to build our basics to get to this point. So make sure you're building your basics really nicely and then slowly starting to put these things together, okay? And I do mean slowly, students. Please do not rush this process. This process wasn't made to be rushed. This process was made to enjoy. And it will get frustrating sometimes, but that's what's worth doing. Just doing it until it finally clicks with you, okay? So, like I said, start with your hands separate, and then you can start putting them together. In the next videos, I will show you the exercise, or show you how these exercises relate to the music that you're going to play, and then you should be having fun in no time. Alright, so that is the C major system, and there are 12 other systems, so we'll go slowly and shortly. We'll show you all these scales and whatnot, but begin with these beginning exercises so you can start getting your fingers moving, okay? And I'll see you next time.